Hello, hello. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. I'm going to do a quick peek at kind of a what's on their mind kind of vibe. And that's just for like a no contact situation. I thought it would be maybe nice to touch base on something like that. Also, a little bit later on tonight, I'm going to be putting out a video where you guys made some really awesome suggestions, and we'll kind of encompass those and put those into a storytelling. So stick around for that. But for right now, let's look at a no contact situation just as in a no contact scenario. What's going through a character's mind right about now? Hi, everyone. Patricia, Violet, great to see you. Merry Christmas, everybody. All right. So first off, we could have a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. And if they are sitting kind of in an energy of a reverse like this is somebody who's kind of like in that mindset of they don't have a truth to say. As much as they don't feel like something is done and over, they also don't have words that they put together in order to say something. So it's maybe the words didn't come to them if they wanted to say something, or maybe they haven't had the mindset to put their words together. You notice that this is a card of, kind of like balanced chakras. This would feel to me like we have a character who, that might be the example of why someone is not connecting, not saying anything, why there isn't any contact, is possibly because they've got scattered energy, shattered energy even. Hi, everybody. So great to see you. We're going to do a real collective message later on where I honor the suggestions that you guys made in that previous video that I put out a little earlier today, the other collective message. Okay, so stick around for that. You guys had some great suggestions of things you'd like to hear a story about. So, gosh, we got a Queen of Wands in the reverse. This feels like a character who is, if anything, during a no contact situation, they're kind of feeling bad for themselves. Doesn't matter if they're masculine or feminine, they're coming out as stuck in the energy of like, I deserve to be, treated in a certain way. I deserve somebody to come nurture me. I'm a real catch and someone should more or less pursue me, bow down to me. Okay, so this character, the only reason I'm going to read it in a negative light, because sometimes we could say, hey, somebody does deserve that, right? They should be treated better. But in this case, this is a selfish energy. So I'm going to say during a no contact situation, it appears that whomever this person is, they got a chip on their shoulder right now. They're feeling like they should be bowed down to, and their needs should be met. And it's kind of all about them. So it's not on them to open up and say anything. They don't need to communicate to anybody. We've got a King of Swords and we got that Seven of Swords. Here's the thing. We're getting a lot of mixed signals on this. This person believes that they are all that and a bag of chips at the moment. They're thinking very highly of themselves, but that is a lie. I almost think that they believe that their silence is a show of strength and somebody else needs to come and tell me that I'm amazing. See how I'm going to sit here and be calm and cool and put together. But they know that that's not really true because the Seven of Swords is here. So we have possibly, right at the beginning, I said maybe Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, and now we have that coming across really strong, but in their shadow energy. And it's interesting that their shadow side is kind of a distorted feminine. They may come across as a masculine, but with a distorted feminine. So something about the way they wanted to be nurtured shifted over to, I don't just want to be nurtured, I deserve to be hailed, oh hail Caesar, it comes across like this character in their mind. What they're thinking about is, I'm freaking fantastic, somebody should bow down to me, I'm not going to reach out to them, even though they know. Let me ask about that card of lies. What is it? What's the truth behind all of this that you actually know? See, Queen of Cups. Is this somebody right now in a no contact situation that doesn't want to say word one, because that would mean them stepping down and maybe either needing to be the one to apologize or the one who would have to admit that they did something wrong? Because the truth of it is they know that whomever it is that they're not speaking to is actually incredibly loving. Give me another one on that. They know that this person is really kind and really sweet. So for them to sit there and insist that you should bow to me. I'm super awesome. You know, I'm thinking right said Fred right now. I'm too sexy for my shirt, too sexy it hurts kind of vibe. Like this person is telling themselves that they are, they might stand in the bathroom mirror and, you know, gloat and stare at themselves and their beautifulness and their handsome physique and damn, you are a good looking man, you know, to get themselves like pumped up. Like I'm feeling that vibe off of this because this person is telling them a big fat whopping lie about how they're too sexy for their shirt. So sexy it hurts. They are so good. They are so awesome. And they know that it's not true. Not that they're not attractive. This person would be drop dead gorgeous, but they're saying somebody else should come crawling to them, but they know that that's not true. They also think that this is a show of strength, but they know it's not. This is how they hide fear. They're afraid to go towards somebody that they think is really very loving. I mean, why would you think that a really loving person should be crawling to come give to you when this is already a really giving queen, right? Along with this energy of I'm not telling the truth even to myself. I'm lying in my own mind right now. I think it's because they feel like they lost her. This new like no contact situation. I think they feel like even if I said sorry, there's no way that they'd look at me like theirs again. There's no way that this loving person would see me as the one that they wanted, even if I did come in and apologize. So instead of telling myself the truth that, hey, maybe if I owe somebody an apology, I maybe really should still do that. They're like, oh, are you kidding me? I'm the greatest thing there ever was. I'm the greatest thing that ever walked this earth. Okay, so this is how they're choosing to deal with something that is probably a really deep disappointment or a deep fear that they can't, you know, back up the train and still have what they want. So they're kind of trying to tell themselves, you know, it's like when we say, well, I didn't get picked for that sport, but you know what? I don't really like that sport anyway. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. I mean, sometimes we do have to say, okay, I guess it's not meant for me. Big deal. There's other stuff I could use my time for. But other times we insist that we don't even like that when really it's like, I want that so bad. But if I don't think I can have it, then instead I'm going to vilify it. I'm going to say I would never want that. That's the vibe I get off of this. So this person is in this storyline. There's no contact. And at no point is this person thinking that they're going to be reaching out, because instead they're sitting there in this false, you know, dialogue that they're telling themselves. They're building this storyline about how, yeah, everybody should be crawling to me. Anyway, look at how strong I am sitting here in my silence and solitude. I'm pretty damn awesome. But it's all to hide the fact that they think a sorry wouldn't fix it. Let me just ask, why do you think that a sorry would never get this back on track? That it's too late? Oh, God, we got the 9 of Swords in it sideways. You know, the bottom line is they're just petrified of saying sorry. They're petrified of maybe the, you know, opening this up. They're petrified of, if I did reach out, what would you say? What's that song? What would you do? Would you stand up and walk out on me? What would you do if I said at this moment? Oh, I can't think of the lyrics. I can hear the song, but I'm also starting to merge 2 songs right now. Tears in my eyes. Would you? Oh, if I could just love you one more time. I can only get pieces of the song that are popping into my head right now. Sorry, but that song is in my head. Okay, so they do not believe that they would be successful, which is so interesting, right? 6 of Wands in the reverse says no confidence, but we started out with so egotistical, so over the top confidence. I'm the hottest thing there ever was. Watch me sit here in my amazing silence because I'm kind of smarter than everybody else in the room. So this is a completely opposite reality, is what we got. Sorry, my phone's blowing up right now. Merry Christmas, everybody. Yeah, this is a tough character. 5 of Wands in the reverse. So they're going to choose the path of least resistance, which means I'm not even going to open up conversation or dialogue because I don't think that I would win. I don't think I could fight for this. I don't want to have to say something and then have the person ask me a question and go back and forth. There's no way I can go round and round. I already think that I've lost this and it scares me too much to deal with that. Let me just step away from this for a second because we kind of see where somebody's at who is like, this is why they're not reaching out, essentially. Hang on, I gotta switch switch beverages. Yes, I'm like always going to be over here double fisting my beverages. I've always got to do more than one, rotating, because when one gets low, got to swap to the other. Okay, let me go with this deck for the universe. We'll come back to you in a minute. Universe, weigh in on this character's actions, behavior, their mentality around all of this. Knight of Cups. Okay. That is actually about taking action toward, matters of the heart. Eight of Wands. That's very interesting. Even though we saw this person sitting there basically in this weird propped up ego, you know what I have in my mind right now is a picture of like a building that is in absolute disrepair. The stucco's falling off, there's bricks that have collapsed, there's gaps and holes, and somebody comes along and they just try to like put up like a faux front and then paint over it and try to pretend that there's not crumbling structural integrity. That's what this whole first component of this feels like. Somebody is pretending that everything is fine. Look at how powerful I am. And they're actually sitting there saying, I'll never have success here. So that's why I'm not reaching out. But the universe weighs in and says, yeah, they're about to. And I'm kind of like, what? I thought they've made this decision to block, ignore, pretend that this isn't going on, not reach out, tell themselves a different dialogue, and sit in this energy of I'm not reaching out, I'm not reaching out. And the universe is like, oh yeah, they will. This is somebody who's what they actually want. Even if they don't know it, they're even starting to lean toward it and gravitate toward it. Okay. Excuse me, how? Excuse me, how? We've got a Queen of Swords in the reverse. So we start out with them showing up as a King of Swords upright is how they're projecting themselves. So possibly Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, right? But then they also have like that inner shadow side. Their karmic energy within them is depicted by that Queen of Wands in the reverse. But when I say how is it that the universe counters with, yeah, actually at some point this person will move forward and actually take action for their heart. And I'm like, how? Well, we have a Queen of Swords in the reverse, which actually says, I know this sounds weird, but at some point, this sour energy that they have, combined with not telling themselves the truth, combined with trying to distance themselves from the very thing that they want, is actually shifting into, this is so weird to say this, but it's like they're suddenly going to want to fight with her. They want to hear her say something like, just fine, just tell me that you're mad at me, but just talk to me. It almost feels like, because we do have a divine counterpart here, as weird as it is, Six of Wands upright. If she would just talk to me, then that would actually feel like a win. So are they going to break the silence by like poking the bear just because they all of a sudden just have to have a communication? Is that what this is headed for? They've been sitting here saying, I won't say anything. I won't say anything. See how strong I am. I don't need anybody. But then they're going to send some message that is actually slightly rude, because it would feel better to at least know that they can have a reaction out of her. What? Princess of Cups. Okay, I know this is really bizarre, but this says that somewhere down the road, I don't know, we'll ask about timelines in just a minute, but somehow, some way down the road, they're going to take action. They're going to go ahead and reach out. But what they're going to reach out with is something that's going to piss her off. And she just might respond where that's the way they think they're going to get attention. And it's after they've done something rude with a communication that then they'll say, oh gosh, I'm sorry. This is their opening to apologize, but they have to make it something. They can't bring up the past and begin by coming in humbly with an apology. They want to ignore this, say they're not going to do anything. And then finally later on, they're going to send probably a rude message that would piss anybody off just to get a retort out of her that then they can apologize for that. That's a weird opening line. Holy smokes. That's a weird opening line. But like to get the ball rolling, to be able to start apologizing, it's like they're going to start with something that is not very polite. 10 of Pentacles. It's like they're thinking that if they could not say any word and then suddenly come in with something that's rude and get her attention, to get her talking to them again, even if it's just to tell them where to go, then they can say sorry. And then that is their strategy to maybe start communicating, and like, if she'll accept the apology for what I just said, maybe that means she'd like accept an apology or forgive me for everything that happened in the past. Or that would show me that she still cares about me somehow. Let me go back over here and say, for this character, let's go with this deck. What is going to prompt them to go from sitting in their silence and being too scared to do anything to suddenly like sending this message? Because that's not what we saw. We saw them sitting there doing nothing because really they've been scared. I only read this deck in the upright because there's already 2 meanings. 7 of Cups to the 8 of Cups. It's weird because it's like over time, they're going to come up with this strategy, right? Well, I'm afraid to reach out with a genuine, like, I'm sorry, I miss you. But what if I reached out like it doesn't matter, like this is kind of over, because I have to assume it's over anyway, and I've been acting like it doesn't matter. So, hey, if I pretend it doesn't matter at all, and I just go ahead and be like, oh, hey, by the way, have a good life. I, randomly remembered you. Maybe if I just send a message like that, it's kind of like throwing, like something at the wall and seeing what sticks kind of vibe. I haven't lost anything because I'm already like off on this other pathway anyway, right? I'm not talking to them. I'm not going to reach out to them with something sincere. But what if I reached out with something very random, even off the wall, and something that would kind of, oh, are they going to pretend that they sent a message that was intended for somebody else? Is that what that is? Oh gosh, sorry, didn't mean to send you that message. The 7 of Cups is confusion, or it creates confusion, or it's about options. Is that how they're going to do this? I didn't even think of that. If they're going to randomly send a message and then pretend it was, oh gosh, sorry, that wasn't intended for you, that was intended for somebody else. We have an Ace of Wands going to the 2 of Wands. We have the 6 of Pentacles going to the 7 of Pentacles. I think that's exactly what it is. Because it's like, it'll make her think of me. I'll be on her radar again. Oh, whoops, sorry. If she calls me back or sends me a message back to be like, who the hell is this for? Excuse me, but I don't know why you're telling me that you'll make it to your dental appointment at 2 p.m. next week. I'm your ex. It's like he's thinking, yeah, but then I'd hear from her. So I didn't say sorry. Not really. I might apologize. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to bother you. That, I don't know. These crazy cell phones. It feels like that. But then he'd be able to say, okay, so what's going to happen next? Will she reach out? It's testing the waters without starting with the apology, unless they can apologize for something else completely different. Oh, sorry to interrupt your piece. So it's not necessarily something that would be rude that they would send a message on. It's a fumble, a perceived fumble. Is it real or sincere? To me, this feels like this is their attempt at getting dialogue again, to test, would she ever talk to me again? Because they are too petrified to send a message, to say the words that need to be said. So it feels like they're finding a way around that, even though I don't know when that strategy comes to them. But let me see. I said, is it real or is it, manufactured? We have Empress to Emperor. We have 6 of Wands to the 7 of Wands. I think it's totally manufactured. I think it's just after saying for so long, I'm not going to reach out, I'm not going to say anything. And sure enough, they haven't. This is still a no contact situation. But it's so crazy because we see why they're not reaching out. They can't bear the getting shut down or getting turned down for a sincere offer that they would want to make. So they tell themselves that they don't want to make that offer anyway. But then they find this weird workaround. I almost think they're going to lie to themselves about why they're doing it. It is to see, would she ever talk to me again? 6 of Pentacles. Would she be willing to? Could that open dialogue, even if at first it's just she's going to be pissed that I, sent her an accidental message meant for somebody else. If she responds, then what does that mean? Does it mean she'd want to keep talking to me? This feels like they have this, feels like this is somebody who still has this idea that this is the one person for me. I want to be in this high level commitment. But here's my problem with all of this. The big blockage, I feel like he wishes that he was in a connection with, or he, she, by the way, this could be same sex, reverse gender roles, does not matter. But I feel like it's like, if only I could be in this connection where like I have your back, you have mine, we fight on each other's flank to protect each other. That's like what he'd like to have. That's not what he's fostered with this person in the past. He doesn't know how to get back to that. And he's taken everything but a direct route to get there, but he's got a fantasy of what it could be like, but really scared to get told no, get the hell on out of here. So all of this is about like the way somebody will even kind of trick themselves into, because he's been lying through his teeth to himself that he doesn't still want this, to satisfy the ego. And even the way this character is intending to accidentally reach back out is still to protect the ego, which makes me question that whole idea of the emperor empress. This is what he wants. This is what he wants. Let's move on from the struggles and let's just be like, in a relationship. But I don't see this person yet as willing to really fix the core of the problems or to humble any part of themselves. I think it would be tough to have a great loving relationship without humbleness, because ultimately isn't that, humbleness and vulnerability are really necessary. Again, this is a sticky situation because how does he reopen a chapter? And of course, it's understandable that he'd be fearful, but especially if he thinks he'd never be accepted back, but he still wants this. But this is his plan on how to make this happen, even if he hasn't admitted this plan to himself yet. When does all this play out? Because right now he's sitting in silence. The Tower in the reverse. Well, again, there's no collapse of ego. So when does this happen? I don't know, maybe during Aries season, which we're not really that far away from. We got Princess of Swords, Princess of Pentacles. I don't know. He's like kind of doing the legwork of spying, trying to figure out. He thinks about this character a lot. He thinks about this queen a lot. She came out as a Queen of Cups and then also as a Queen of Swords in the reverse. So he thinks an awful lot about her, and thinking a lot about her, and maybe, checking in on social media and maybe considering. But again, he's got to pump himself up. So this is still, I look at Prince of Pentacles as, at least months of time, but honestly, Pentacles can be a lot longer. This is our slowest moving energy. Seasons, I would think of it as like quarters of the year. So yeah, maybe not until around Aries season, but this just looks like this isn't happening soon, but it's weird. It's like during this time period of him like strongly deciding not to say anything is kind of when he's starting to foment this idea that maybe in like 4-5 months, maybe I'm going to accidentally send a text, or this is like slowly churning in the back of his mind. Universe, what's the advice to this character then? What is the advice to them, considering everything that we see here? The Justice and the Page of Cups. Freaking apologize. Just freaking apologize. This is layering layers of unfairness. This was already a messed up situation. There's something to apologize for the injustice. So better to confront what it is head on, perhaps, than do this weird, long, drawn out, I will not drop my ego. I cannot bear being told to go to hell, so I'll find a different way around this. The universe says this is not a great plan. Knight of Wands. And if in the past they were being, like a player energy, if in the past they were back and forth, if that's what they need to apologize for, We have the Judgment card, the Nine of Cups. It almost feels like the universe is straight up saying, how do you dig yourself out of a hole, right? If you keep digging down, you just make the hole deeper. You don't dig yourself out of a hole. You got to stop the digging and you got to start looking at climbing. And this person keeps on a digging. And the universe is like, it's real simple, hun. Take a look at what was done wrong and apologize. And apologize for that. Apologize for the fact that maybe once upon a time you're very egotistical. You needed lots and lots and lots of attention. Maybe you were hot and cold, back and forth, in and out of somebody's life, not consistent. Apologize for that, And what would actually make you happiest in this world is to be back in good standing with a person that you care about and to actually have them care about you again and, have this resurrection of the connection. So why not do the thing that would make you happiest? It just seems like this character has a real blockage in regards to the way this character seems to be planning to handle everything. Universe, do you have any weigh in on that? Ace of Wands. The universe is like, that's a lizard brain talking. What you want is what you want, but you're not really thinking about how to get there. We get it. You really want this connection by any means that you can get it back. But in regards to the way you're handling it, just know that you're still only satisfying the lizard brain, right? The lizard brain, I want to eat, I want to mate, I want, my survival. You're going after something that you want 100% your way without really considering anything else. Now, that kind of drive can get you what you want, but that lizard is there and prominent for a reason. Wheel of Fortune and the Sun. Well, apparently in regards to them going after this in that really bizarre way, there might be something about divine timing here. But the longer they don't apologize for the correct thing and the more time that passes, the greater the chances are that, sure, they could still get what they want. They could still have their happiness and still talk to this person later on. But so too could she go off and meet a Leo and have a happily ever after. Just bear in mind, the longer they're not maybe addressing what needs to be addressed, possibly the longer that open door is there and somebody else can waltz right through it. So if it's that they still really want her, really want a connection with her, just know that the longer you avoid her, the longer the opportunity is for her to meet somebody else if she hasn't already. But I don't know. It's this character seems to always want to get what they want at all times with as little change in their behavior as humanly possible. Coming back in doesn't look like they want to address anything that they should. It's all, everybody wants to get what they want with as much ease as possible, right? We'd all love to have money deposited into our bank accounts that just simply manifests, right? We'd all love that. But we'd like to have six-pack abs with never going to the gym. We'd like all those things. But nowhere in life do we really end up getting everything that we want by doing nothing and making no change. But this character is pretty determined that that's the route they would like it to go. Is this plan going to work? I'm sorry, but I'm still scratching my head over here going, I do not think that may work the way you think it will work. I do not think that word means what you think it means. Sorry, I'm channeling Princess Bride right now. That's like a holiday movie. But will this, at least in my family, it was like a holiday rewatch. Will this plan work? Two of Wands. The universe is like, anything's possible. Who knows what her response is going to be? She will have the ultimate choice as to whether or not she wants to, kind of roll with this person's game playing. This is such an appropriate card because we see this Nine of Cups here. And this is, I believe it is an Iraqi folk tale where this woman is not attracted to men. And I think she's like a princess or something, but she does not want a man, but this man falls in love with her. So he dresses up like a woman and starts, more or less trying to court her. And she falls in love with him, thinking that this is a woman. And then he later reveals, hey, but by the way, I'm actually a dude, which I know is not your flavor. And by then she's already in love with him. So she's like, it's all good. We'll still be together. All I can say about this is that it does feel like this is under false pretenses, but could this still end up a 9 of Cups? If her greatest wish is to just have this person back in her life under any circumstances, that's fine. But let's not fail to see this. This is always still going to be under some kind of false pretenses. And the 9 of Cups is still kind of more self-serving attainment. So it all depends. Like there's a lot of wiggle room in this story, because perhaps she'll say like, wow, you did all that just to try to get me back in your life. You intentionally accidentally sent me a message because you were hoping I'd talk to you again. These two could be lighthearted about it. This doesn't have to be like some intense, like, oh God, this crazy manipulative, blah, blah, blah dude who just can't say sorry. Maybe this is going to be looked at as more lighthearted. Maybe it'll be seen as, oh my God, because there's that song, I think it's by Garth Brooks. I think it's called The Chair. No, maybe it's George Strait. And in it, he intentionally like comes up to somebody at a dance and says, oh, excuse me, you're sitting in my seat. And she's like, oh, excuse me. And the whole song is so great. It's written like they're having dialogue. So it's like half little unfinished sentences. So it's kind of brilliant. But at the end of it, like they basically are, now in love. And he says at the end of the song, and by the way, that wasn't my chair after all. And he admits that like, I only said that to start a conversation with you because I so wanted to get to know you and I had to break the ice somehow. So it's a much more lighthearted song. And I got to say, I've read this story kind of like intense, but now this kind of makes me think, is this a more lighthearted look at it? Now that song is in my head, and the song is awesome and it's sweet and it's funny, and a great melody. And it's very like, you understand he's got to have an opening line. So maybe that's how I should have read this. I didn't think of it that way until the very, very end. Damn, I'm always getting schooled here by the universe, huh? My storytelling is not always the way it should be. I should have looked at it from that second perspective. With the 2 of Wands, it says we got to consider it both ways. This could be super lighthearted and even funny. Like, wait a minute, you mean you thought I wouldn't talk to you, so you faked out and pretended that you accidentally texted somebody else to see if I was going to cuss you out? Oh my God, you goofball. It could be lighthearted. I didn't see it that way. You guys, thanks so much for being here, everyone. Great to see you. Amanda, Merry Christmas to you in Australia. Hey, RK. Hallelujah. Great to see you. Hey, Timothy. Thank you, Angel. Isles, how are you? Thanks again, you guys. Great to catch everybody. Melissa Estes. Hi, sweetie. Awesome. Melissa, I actually did put the link to one similar to it. I couldn't find the identical, but I found one very similar to it that I did add a link to for you. I always look for something that's like almost identical or, the exact, if I can possibly locate it for you. I've had this one for a while, so it's hard to find the exact one because I think it's out of stock. But I did put that on the other video for you, love. Dwayne Anderson, great to see you. Hi, Jag. Tanya, great to catch you, love. Beach Girl, Audrey, Gabrielle, Merry Christmas. Hi, Monique. Monica, great to catch you. Empress DC, Patricia Bocator, Amy Milliken. Hey, guys. Hi, Shane. Hi, Echo. Sun Goddess 888, Merry Christmas to you also. Thank you, Patricia Jackson. Yes, Joe Cocker, thank you so much. I so appreciate that. Fun Quigley, hey. Hi, Mudsmoik. Hey, Gia. Inquisitive Eyes, great to see you. Oh, and thank you so much, Inquisitive Eyes. Thank you for answering Gia's question. You're spot on. Hi, Stacy. Darren, Angelina Davina, good to see you. Yes, you quoted those lines perfectly. Thank you. Yes, the Wonder Years theme song. Angelina Davina, yes, you're spot on. Hi, Victoria. Julie, oh, Merry Christmas to you also. I hope you guys have been having a really nice Christmas. Hi, Colleen. Takoria Burt, great to see you. Andrea, hi, sweetie. Thank you again, Andrea, for earlier. Michelle S., Merry Christmas to you too. I'm going to do all the zodiacs tomorrow. Okay, guys. Tonight, I'm not going to do any zodiacs. I'm going to wait and do all of them tomorrow just because I don't have enough time really tonight. And I thought, let me do just some collectives and see, just because I thought it would be fun. And then you guys had thrown out some great suggestions on some topics that you'd like. And I thought, let me honor those also tonight. So Crystal Suzanne, hi. Hi, Ooge Subliminals. Ian Bell, good to see you, hun. Erica L. Hi, Sabrina. Brown Eyed Girl. Indigo Moon X. Merry Christmas, honey. So nice to see you guys tonight. Lois, Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah to you too. Hi, Stardusty. Hi, Icy. Heather Cowdrick's in the house. Thank you, everybody. Oh, RT, you angel. You're so cute. You saw my little wonky cookies. You're awesome. Hi, Lolly. And Violet, you were second in the house tonight. Patricia beat you by just a smidge. Did I miss somebody up there? Oh, no, that was Violet again. Okay, awesome. You guys, thanks so much. Really good to see you. Hi, Carmen. Merry Christmas to you also, Edna. Kyle Wolf, to you also, love. Hi, Miss B. JD, thank you, love. You guys are so awesome. Yeah, I'm so glad you made it, Timothy. Mara Paints, thank you. Thank you so much. Dad Bod Energy, thank you. Merry Christmas, honey. Thank you so much. Spirit Love, good to see you. Moonshine, Johnny the Carnut, Merry Christmas, hun. Thank you, Fawn. Sweet dreams. All right, you guys, I'll be back on in just a minute. We're going to cover some of the questions or the topics that you guys suggested in the other video that I had posted earlier this evening. So it'll be a true collective message. All right. So I'll see you guys in just a minute. Pam Jam. Hi, sweetie. Merry Christmas. All right, guys. See you in just a few. Thanks again.